Have you ever used this Nautilus Xpload 45-degree leg press or the Nautilus Nitro pin-loaded leg press? If you have, you've probably noticed that both of them have this foot plate that actually rotates or pivots as you go through the range of motion. And it actually changes what's going on throughout the range, and it's kind of interesting to look at. So I figure we'll compare these two machines and sort of look at some of the pros and cons between them and what we can get out of them. Welcome back everyone, my name's Alex Reid. The goal of this channel really is to explore all things gym machines, exercise and rehab. And I was recently down in Hobart, Tasmania. I was helping my mum after rehabbing from a hip replacement surgery, and I was able to train at a gym called All Aerobics Fitness. Now if you heard the name of that gym, you would probably think to yourself, this gym doesn't have any nice machines in it. But it actually got some really cool old school Nautilus pieces. It's got the Xpload line of machines, and it's also got the Nautilus Nitro line of machines. So really cool facility. If you're ever in Hobart, Tasmania, highly recommend checking that one out. And while I was there, I was able to use the Nautilus Xpload 45-degree leg press, which I'd never actually used before. I do own the Nautilus Nitro pin-loaded leg press. And so I figured I'd use this 45-degree press and just kind of compare that one to the Nitro and compare how they both work and some of the pros and cons of each of those. This 45-degree Xpload leg press, it's an interesting piece. It's designed like a normal leg press, but it just has this rotating foot plate on it. And what that does, or what it's designed for, is as you go through the range of motion, that will actually rotate and it turns it into a slightly more of a hip-focused leg press than a knee muscle-focused leg press. I'm going to take a look at the lines of force and how that works in the next section here. If we were to draw the lines of force on this foot plate going straight up, we would pretty much have very minimal knee challenge in this exercise, and it would be pretty much all hip. But actually it doesn't work that way because there's actually stuff going on at the foot plate. Now, if we greased that foot plate up and made that the slipperiest surface known to man, your foot would slide upwards on that foot plate. Now, because your foot's not sliding up on that foot plate, it means we're actually getting a force imparted on our foot in the other direction. And what that does is it actually creates a line of force going downwards, and we get this net force going through like this. So we have this force from the friction involved on that foot plate. Now, if we were to actively try to shove our foot up the platform and try to actively kind of slide it up, that force will actually increase. And what that then does is moves the net force line further down, and we end up with more knee challenge in the exercise, knee muscle challenge, and less hip muscle challenge in the exercise. Now, if we compare that one to the Nautilus Nitro pin-loaded leg press, you actually get a bit of a bigger change in angle on that horizontal leg press, and you can end up actually getting a kind of a greater hip challenge from my experience of using it on the Nitro version than you can on the Xpload version. The resistance profile on the Nitro version actually also feels a little bit better, feels a little bit more appropriate, and it actually has a cam on it. So if you're smart and you want to play around with that cam, you could actually make that resistance even more challenging as you get towards that short end of the range, which could be pretty cool to play around with. There is a downside to this Nitro version, and that weight stack is often it's not going to be enough for a lot of people, and they'll end up lifting the whole stack, and they need to load more weight on it, so they'll have to use one of those weight pins, try and stick a plate on it. I'm not sure if anyone's tried that before. Let me know in the comments if you have and whether it worked for you. But yeah, that's a little bit of a downside of this Nitro one, is you are limited in how much load you can put on it. Whereas the Xpload 45-degree one, you can just load plates on that forever, and it's probably unlikely you're going to max that one out. I think the main issue with the Xpload 45-degree leg press is it's set up like a standard leg press, but it does have that rotating foot plate. And I think it takes people a while to get used to that, and it does feel a little bit awkward for sure. So that's probably one of the downsides. And I did have a look online, and a lot of people were commenting saying, man, I just can't get used to this rotating foot plate on this piece. So that is one of the issues with it. It's not the end of the world. I'm sure if you played around with it for long enough, you could get used to it and you could probably get a lot out of the machine. I think if I was picking one though, if I was picking a specific plate loaded hip press, there's heaps of other options on the market that you might probably prefer if you're looking for a hip press over this Xpload version. There's obviously a lot more to compare with these machines, so if I've missed anything, let me know in the comments. And as always, if you have any questions, put them below and I'll get back to you really soon on those ones.